Hey guys, welcome back to Semojo Homestead. So glad that you guys are with us. If this is your first time and you are just finding us because of this video, welcome. We invite you to become a part of our YouTube family, which is simply just hitting subscribe. So today I want to talk about making your own sports drink. Now in the summertime in South Carolina, where we are, especially, the humidity is ridiculous. And with that, if you're working outside, comes a lot of sweating. Got to replenish that. And water is great for it, but you also got to get those electrolytes and salts back into your body because you're sweating them all out, which is where sports drinks come in. Now, if you're buying them from the store, it can add up fairly quickly. You know, I've got my own landscape business, so I'm outside all day, every day, sweating it out. I know how fast those can add up, but this is really, really simple. And this recipe, for us anyway, is made from scraps, stuff that we would normally just be throwing out and not using at all. So because we are in South Carolina and we homestead, so we garden, we have an abundance of these things, cucumbers. So you gotta have something to do with cucumbers, right? Well, in this case, today, we're gonna be making relish, but that's not what this video is gonna be about. With relish, you end up with a lot of extra runoff because you gotta drain those cucumbers. So a lot of, we'll call it cucumber water. And that's what we're gonna use to make our sports drink. Now, if you're not making relish, that's fine. If you have an excess of cucumbers and you don't wanna make relish, it still works. You still go through the same steps in this video. Now, there's a certain one out there that has a flavor that is cucumber lime, which is kind of a, from what I understand, Hispanic. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but a Hispanic kind of flavor. I tried it one time and loved it. Loved the coolness of the cucumber with the tartness of the lime. It really works well together. Both of those are great for rehydrating. And so what better combination, right? So like I said, we're gonna have a lot of leftover cucumber juice that we're gonna use in this. And then we are gonna be buying the lime juice. We're just using concentrated lime juice, throwing some sweetener in there and making our own sports drink. So let's get started. So for this recipe, we are actually using 12 pounds of cucumbers. Now again, we garden, we have an excess of them. You could cut that down if you wanted to, not a problem at all. Just adjust all the other ratios. So after you wash them, you're going to want to shred them and then put them in a bowl and mix in 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup of salt. Now that sounds like a lot. This is a concentrate and the cucumbers are gonna absorb a lot of that salt. It's not gonna all come through in the liquid that we're getting. What that salt's gonna do is help pull the liquid, excess liquid, out of the cucumbers so that you end up with all this wonderful cucumber juice. Now, after it sits in a cool place for a minimum of 2 hours or up to overnight, then you're going to want to strain out the cucumbers. And so the easiest way to do that is in a colander with a cheesecloth. It just helps to prevent all of the chunks of cucumber from finding their way through any holes in your colander. Now I want to back up to something I just said. This is a concentrate, and so you will be watering it down to drink it. So while some of these measurements may seem excessive, they're really not. We've just drained out all of the liquid from the relish mixture. And keep in mind, this does not have any of like the dill or the spices or anything in it. All it had was the salt to draw the water out of the cucumbers and turmeric, which turmeric is actually good for you. So I'm not worried about it being in there. It's actually probably gonna add a little bit of like just a subtle flavor to it. And the salt is not so heavy in the liquid discard that it just tastes like salt water. Sports drinks have sodium in it. That's part of replenishing those electrolytes that are in you. So you need that in there. But anyway, got this drained out, gave us a good amount. So the next step is gonna be putting in the lime juice and sweetener. Now you can just use honey for this. I will probably use sugar and cheat a little bit on this. We do try to limit sugar intake in our family, but we'll probably do kind of like a half and half, like half honey, half sugar, just so we're not using a lot of honey because we're a little bit limited on the supply that we have left. All right, so we got the sugar and the honey added to we're not going off of measurements, but I'm gonna call that at least a gallon of cucumber water. So we're gonna put this on the stove to heat it up just enough to melt and mix in that honey and sugar, and then we're gonna add the lime juice. Now, this is all strictly based on personal flavor, like there's no hard line measurements that I'm using on this. So we are just heating this up over a medium to medium low heat, just enough to get those sugars to dissolve. So we're gonna stir constantly so it doesn't burn on the bottom. And then after that, we added the lime juice. Now I would suggest doing 4 to 6 cups, depending on how much lime flavor you want. And all of this yielded about 1.5 gallons of concentrate. So one thing you do need to know is this is a concentrate, so play with your water ratio when making it, but I would start with probably at least cutting it in half. Not bad. I like it. Especially for just using like your scraps, in our case, the juice from the cucumbers that we're using to make relish. Because of the salt content in it, I would not suggest just drinking it as like a normal drink. This is definitely like a sports drink, rehydrating type drink. So after you've sweated out a lot of that stuff, great for replenishing it. As with any sports drink, probably want to drink a glass of water with this. And I'm not saying that because it's like salty, but you are getting that salt intake into your body. And hydrating should not ever just be 100% reliant upon sports drinks. But this is really good and doesn't have all the extra stuff in it that those store-bought sports drinks have. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. We'll get back to you on that. If you make it, let us know what you think. Great refresher for these hot summer days. Hope you guys have a great week and be blessed.